This video is sponsored by Van Digital, a social media, virtual assistance, and web design agency.
Hey guys, this is part 3 of my narcissistic marriage to my ex-husband. Okay, so I bought my ticket back to go to Ghana. I was still excited, but I couldn't shake the feeling in my stomach. I was drowning in anxiety. But I remember once upon a time this man was my peace, so I thought, maybe he's going through a rough patch and he can't communicate that with me in a proper way. So I had patience to work it out. I was also filled with turmoil as well. So I bought him some Jordans and a designer bag set, Beats headphones, and a George Foreman grill. While I was in Ghana, I was completing training for another job that I was training for a year, and finishing my degree. So my total hours of working every week was about 80 hours. I had a final interview and I thought it went well. Later on in the week, we went to his soccer practice, and I want to note it was not for a team. It was just for him to basically keep up his skills with people in the community who were actually signed. I brought my laptop to work on some training, and I received an email from the job saying I wasn't successful and I should try again in 2 years. I was devastated. I look over at him warming up, and I motion him over to me, and I tell him, and he said, "Sorry," and continued jogging as if all the planning and efforts for close to 10 months didn't go down the drain, and I wasn't able to reapply for the job until 2 years' time. He acted as if my life didn't fall apart. He continued to play his soccer game for 45 minutes while I sat there bottling up tears because I didn't want to cry in front of strangers and his teammates. I confronted him and he was so nonchalant about it. And this story does get worse. The next day, when I say immediately the next day, I receive a text from my father that my uncle has passed away. Now, for a year prior, I've been hearing, if you're Ghanaian, you'll know this song very well. It's by, is it OBC? Woyaya, right? And I would play it, and I would get signs and synchronicities saying that a father figure of yours is sick. So I was really on my father, trying to get his health together, not knowing the father figure in question was a type of spiritual father to me. The only person that really understood, in my opinion, what spiritual warfare was. And he was just gone. And I remember the last time he called me a year prior. In August, I saw his call, but I was still so hurt by what he said to me and how, due to lies, he jumped to conclusions. And I was so hurt. I was hurt for a long time. So at that time, if I thought my life was falling apart, the news that he passed cracked my world in half. I was shattered. I would have never expected that it would be this uncle. The last time I saw this uncle, he hopped his 10-foot fence in the heaviest rains I have seen and went to unlock it. If I was scared or I had an insect in my room or a lizard, he was there to kill it. And to think that our last conversation was what it was, and I would never be able to speak to him again, laugh with him again, get advice from him again. It showed me that life was so fleeting, that even the strongest of strong, in the blink of an eye, their breath is but vapor. I felt like I was in a trance and nothing made sense. And I fell into a deep depression, like at this point, I started to drink. And I lived in a household where these things were not accessible. But I was on my dime and my time. And I felt like to escape this grief, I would find it at the bottom of a cocktail. And I got in touch with my aunt, and I didn't even know at that time he remarried. And I thank God every day that before he passed, he was able to experience true love. And no, I'm not gonna cry on camera, okay? I found it heartbreaking that only a year after he found his kingdom spouse, God called him home in the way he did. This deep depression was scheduled right in time for Bronya. And if you have gone to Accra during this time, you know Accra is packed. Accra always has traffic, but during December, we have reached a limit of insanity. Even at 2 a.m., Osu is flooded with cars. I was still trying to enjoy life. I was coping and trying out these expensive restaurants in Accra, paying for everything, still buying everything. And things got physical. It became a problem for me to even talk about my feelings. And he would do anything to evade the situation. Very avoidant. He would say the most hurtful things and even sabotage future interviews. He would get jealous of his friends who got contracts to play soccer around the world. And he would say that he didn't even know why they got those contracts because he plays better than them. But while in their presence, he would be the supportive friend. But behind their backs, he would talk the most shit. Pardon my French. We had one argument where I told him I don't feel appreciated for giving him the lifestyle that he is living. And that I would take him out to all of these fancy places, buy him all these things that he couldn't afford, only for him to say that he would just eat it and shit it out. Verbatim. I was shook. I was shook at this level of vitriol I received from him. January came and things were still horrible. I was supposed to leave at this point, but I extended my flight for my uncle's funeral because I wouldn't miss it for the world. And I had to travel back to my father's hometown that I only ever visited once with this uncle. So this night we had another argument and I didn't want to get into his face. I did not want to have him look me in the eye and say something that would destroy my spirit. So I said, I don't want to get into your face. Please move back. I was sitting on the bed while we were having this convo, and I said, I'm going to call the police. He slaps my phone out of my hand and says, you think it's gonna stop? It's not going to stop. He starts to choke me while I am trying to reach for my phone. And I want you guys to understand how strong Cody is, that he can lift 200 pounds of cement and put it on his head and walk with it. He could lift me up with one hand. I was no match to defend myself against this man. I really felt during this time that these were one of my last moments, and I thought, if I'm going to die, I'm going to give myself a fighting chance. I saw the glass bottle of Sprite on the bedside table, and I tried to hit him over the head with it. That made no difference. Nor did I have the strength to even shatter the bottle and knock him out. I'm scratching him on the arms, trying to get him off of me. And trying to scratch his face as well. And I broke all of my acrylics on his arms and his face, trying to fight for my life. He proceeds to take the glass bottle and hits me with it on my thigh. I jerk in pain